Everybody, welcome to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash. Right there is my brother Tasia Dash. Hey guys, pretty explosive last 24 hours, I would say, with the trade deadline, or last 48 hours.
48 hours, yeah.
48 hours. Yeah. And obviously on our Twitter account, we've gotten some back and forth because I may have or may not have defended Daryl Morey, and a lot of Sixers fans did not like that. But yeah, so let's kind of dig in to the trade deadline week.
Breaking news: you're the burner, huh?
I'm the burner. I am with Josh Harris or Daryl Morey.
Daryl Morey, yeah, they're speaking through you, is what they're doing.
Yeah. But so let's kind of get down to it. So Sixers trade deadline has come and gone, and no big moves. And last week we talked about Joel Embiid's post game sound, where he talked about, liking the team and wanting to keep the same team, but also at the same time made a comment about ducking the tax. And I think a lot of people took that and ran with one part of his soundbite, because he did talk about liking the team, liking the vibes in the room, and wanting to keep that same team. And a lot of people took yesterday and the last 2 days and said that the Sixers failed Joel Embiid because they didn't listen to him. Well, we talked about it last week. He said multiple things in that soundbite. He said, one, keep that squad, but also at the same time, maybe don't duck the tax and improve the team. But nonetheless, Joel Embiid did say he loved the team, and the way I take that is, don't mess with the rotation of the team. Keep the same rotation you got. And with the two trades they made, they kept that rotation intact. So let's kind of get into the trades and deals we made. So these are the deadline moves. So we traded Jared McCain to Oklahoma City. That was the big one that a lot of people were pissed off about. We got back a 2026 Houston Rockets first-round pick, which we did not have a 2026 first-round pick, along with 3 seconds over the next few years. I didn't even list them because it takes too long. Then Eric Gordon to Memphis, freed up some space for us. We got a 2032 second-round swap, also the rights to Justinian Jessup. Justinian Jessup, I think he plays overseas right now. He went to Boise State, about 6'7", small forward who can knock down. I mean, he's a knockdown shooter. Fun thing about him, Mountain West, went to Boise State, broke one of Jimmer Fredette's all-time three-point records in the Mountain West. So pretty good.
Pretty impressive.
Pretty good company. I mean, Jimmer Fredette was awesome at BYU, three-point king. But I believe he beat him in either 3 points made in the Mountain West or 3-point percentage in a single season. So something that he beat Jimmer Fredette in 3-point shooting. So pretty impressive. And then all those moves allowed us to sign Dominic Barlow to a standard deal, but a 1+1 deal, very similar to the Justin Edwards deal that he got last year, which we ended up signing him to a long-term deal in the offseason. But it allows us to sign up for the rest of this season, and then it gives us the right to decline or bring him in for future deals, for future years. So, great deal. I mean, Dom Barlow, we talked about him on the show. He's been fantastic. That guy's really proved himself. We finally found a power forward, a guy who's gritty, a guy who can rebound, and all these moves allow us to do that. I know a lot of people said that we didn't have to trade Jared McCain in order for us to get Dom Barlow and duck the tax. We could have just traded Gordon and maybe Drummond, but nonetheless, they found an avenue to get a 2026 Houston first-round pick from OKC, and they did that. So, Jay, what are your thoughts on the deadline moves? Are you as reactionary as a lot of these Sixers fans who are very upset about the lack of moves made?
So there's a few different sides to this. Two arguments can be made. One is that the whole core side of it. Did we trade someone from our core like Joel did want to do? No. Because if you've been watching Sixer games all season, you know that McCain is not a part of this core. We just had a topic 2 to 3 weeks ago about should McCain go to the G League to try and recapture his rookie magic. Anytime you're doing that, having that conversation, the guy is not a part of your core. If you just let him go, he just comes and goes from the G League to the NBA. McCain has regressed a little bit. He looked amazing on a really bad team in his rookie season. We ran many of those games offenses through him. And he came through. There's no denying that. But since then, he's had injuries. He looks like a quarter step slower, which isn't the end of the world. But when you're not an explosive athlete to begin with, a quarter and a half steps a massive deal for someone like him. Is it gone forever? No, but Philly just doesn't. Obviously, they don't think it's going to come back to the way it was. That's the McCain side, right? So, management side is Sixers management was criticized for signing Joel to his massive extension. People were saying Morey ruined the future of the franchise by giving Joel that money, and that people were pissed off that the contract was so bad that we couldn't even trade Joel for 10 cents on the dollar up to 2 months ago, right? Like people wanted him gone. Like, oh, he had a good game. Let's trade him. And then when he strung a bunch together, it's like, oh, maybe he's back. So now people are mad that we're not giving in to his supposed trade demands, not even trade demands, because he said he wanted like two different opposite things. Let's go down a hypothetical road here, though. Let's just say, okay, like let's say Morey's about to do that deal for McCain. He goes to Sixers Twitter and sees that everyone says he jumps into the future and then sees how bad fans hate it. So he's like, okay, you know what? I came back to the future past. I'm not going to do that anymore. Let's just keep McCain. Okay. Let's say we don't make the trade. He plays about 13 to 15 minutes rest of season. Marginally better than how he's been. Not back to where he was, but, better. Can't find his jumper. Can't find consistent minutes. He doesn't do much for us in the playoffs. We go into the offseason and try to maybe move him to get a draft pick ahead of the draft. Do you think we get a first in 3 seconds at that point? I don't think we would. Another half season of him just not looking right. Because at this point, we haven't been playing him enough for teams to even realize that maybe he's just not the player he was, and that like small sample size of games that we ran the offense through him was just a kind of a mirage. It's not real. GMs always say, at least good GMs always say, it's always better to trade a year early than a year late. And when you do it a year early, the problem is fans get pissed off because they still think a player is who he was at his best. There's still that hope that like the guy we liked a lot that we don't want to see go is that guy that he was at his peak. I think he can get back there, right? Which was like a 20-game stretch during his rookie season when we were a terrible team. An undersized, non-explosive guard with a misplaced shot. I mean, yell at me if he carves out 20-plus minutes on OKC rest of season, a healthy OKC, because, they have a bunch of injuries now. Yeah, he might get more playing time out of necessity. But a healthy Thunder team in the playoffs, if he's carving out 20-plus minutes a game, then sure. The most ironic part is if he does do that, he's playing over another Sixer Hall of Famer, Sixer fan Hall of Famer, Isaiah Joe. So one of those two guys that people have nightmares over not keeping is going to get less minutes. They're both not going to get minutes. They're both under like 6'2" and 6'4" guards that aren't really point guards. Like that's trouble. They can both shoot, but we'll see. I understand more of the frustration about not getting another player back in a different deal. I'm more on that. I get that. I think people are like, okay, well, what's the next deal? There should be another deal coming because of this, right? There wasn't, and I'm disappointed in that too. But I guess you could always sign someone. It's a good market for that. There's a lot of guys out there, so that option is out there. But I'm not that upset by the McCain deal. I don't think everyone's trying to make him sound like where we just traded Maxey. I mean, I think it's more like MCW at this point.
Yeah. And also too, right, and I know people don't like hearing this because they think we want to compete now, but this upcoming draft, they say it every year, this upcoming draft, they say it might be one of the deeper drafts in a very long time, like way better than last year's draft. And we used to have a pick in this upcoming draft in the first round. So now you can kind of utilize that pick to throw into a deal if they do make a trade on draft night, or if they want to have a player they can be a part of the rotation. Because again, you have three guys who are getting paid top dollar. So like having young assets and young guys who are cost controlled and can make impacts go a long way for this team because you have three guys who are making top dollar, PG, Embiid, and Maxey. And I don't think none of those three guys are going anywhere. I don't think so, not in the near future. So like you have to have picks, and we didn't have a pick in this draft. So like they seized on an opportunity And I think they saw that McCain just wasn't getting the burn in this offense. And not only was it recovered from the injury, he's starting to look like kind of like himself in the last few games. But it seemed like the writing on the wall for a while. Once they drafted VJ Edgecombe, it was kind of like this. And then you trade for Grimes last year. It was kind of like McCain was kind of done. Like you heard you heard Nurse talk in the offseason about the team. And McCain was kind of like a footnote in the conversation. It was Maxey, Edgecombe, Grimes, and you didn't really hear much about McCain. Even when Grimes wasn't even on the team yet, we hadn't even signed him back yet. They were talking about Grimes like he was on the squad, and it was McCain was barely even being talked about. So, like, he was in the rotation. So, yeah, they seized on an opportunity, and you're right. I don't think – and that's the thing. Draft's far away. Right now, the trade deadline, we're talking about playoffs. So, teams aren't valuing draft picks as much as they would be in June when it is draft night. And OKC probably wants to keep that first round pick, and they don't want to trade for. No one's going to trade a first round pick for McCain. It may be just a first round pick, not 3 seconds attached to it. And I think we got more first round picks for McCain more picks for McCain than the Mavericks got for Luka. So pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good, and not to mention, like, we still had holes at guard. Like, we had too many shooting guards. We don't have a backup point guard. We don't have a legit backup point guard. And that's a problem. Not that this fixed that, but there's avenues to have a point guard at some point, bringing up the ball in a backup role. Grimes, I think we obviously see him as more of a guy on this team going forward than McCain. And honestly, what's he, like 3 years younger than him? So it's not even like a massive difference. 4 years younger, maybe. If McCain can go over there and carve out a role as a backup guard, fighting for minutes on a team full of guards, good luck to him on that. I just don't, on a team that, like, we were trying to make him something he wasn't, which is like, yeah, maybe we have these shows. We were like, well, maybe McCain could be a backup point guard. It's like, well, he's not, though. It's just like, that's not going to happen. That wasn't going to happen. Obviously. So, like, and that's what we need on our team. We don't need another undersized guard who can shoot. Like that's just not something we need. And picking up 3 early seconds and a first is not, it's not that easy to get that. So, it's a lot of, I know people say like we didn't get anything for McCain after all that, but yeah, we got to pick that's going to convey this year. Usually, you see trades, it's like, oh, that will convey for 3 years from now. It's literally this year's first round pick. And something people don't usually talk about is we can now trade our 2027 first because we have 2 picks 2 years in a row. Because you can't be without a first rounder 2 years in a row. So if we want to trade a 2027 Sixer first, we can do that. So we have it's opened up future avenues for us as well. On top of that, so I think people fell in love. It's funny if McCain played that full season and let's say came back to earth, because look at Edgecombe started out like averaging like a triple-double this season. Okay, like Wilt Chamberlain numbers. You don't sustain that all year. Like it's just you have bumps, you have low points. Edgecombe also has to play with other like stars. So the offense isn't running through him. Now, if it was running through him all season, maybe Edgecombe would be killing it with numbers. We wouldn't be a good team, but he would have good numbers, not efficient numbers. Right. I think McCain just had the advantage of really not being – there's no one there. He was the only guy that pretty much left on a team, and it was going through him. I think if he would have played a normal season, this wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have seen that. I think we got spoiled, and it was just kind of an unrealistic like pathway we saw for him becoming this guy because of that sample size. And I don't think that's who he was. I think that's who he played a part for a bit, but I don't think that's who he's going to be. I don't think that's how his career is going to go. He wasn't going to be a 23-point scorer. That's just not, I don't think who he's going to be.
Yeah. And this is thinking back to like some of the offseason comments, like before we drafted Edgecombe, remember they said that they were shifting the focus to bringing in athletic guys to the team. And like, that was like, once we heard that, it's like, okay, they're not going to HBL. They're probably going to go VJ Edgecombe. They're going to prioritize and put a premium on athletic guys. I think that was the quote, putting a premium on athletic guys. once I heard that, I was like, okay, well, Grimes is definitely staying. They're probably going to draft VJ Edgecombe. And what does that mean for Jared McCain? Because he's not an athletic guy by any means. So
Yeah.
like the writing has been on the wall for a while, and I guess they were waiting for him to have a blow up spot. In the last few games, he started to look like himself again. Like, all right, let's ship him out of here. So
Yeah, I mean,
he's a fan favorite. I get it. The TikToks, he can shoot out the gym. They call him Baby Steph. Like, I get it. He has a lot going for marketability wise, but he wasn't on the rotation. At the end of the day, like they wanted to get assets they could get assets for, and then they saw an opportunity.
50. Yeah, I mean, it was past. He went a 5-game stretch of shooting, like, what is that? 6 of 10, 15 of 16, 17 of 18, 21 of like 24 or something, 21 of like 26. I mean, from 3, like, that's. Come get him. I bet you we got like an extra second because of that little stretch.
Yeah. And OKC's got a million picks too. Kind of, they can do it at deals like that because they have so many picks.
Yeah, dude, that is. Everyone talks about OKC's advantageous position to be able to like draft in the lottery. That's not every year. That's not realistic. Like, they're not going to do that every year. I mean, granted, they have the Clippers pick, but this year, Clippers have to lose a lot the rest of the season for that to really be like a top 3 pick. But I think the most underrated, advantageous position OKC has put themselves in is to have dart throws like this. Like, these picks are almost meaningless to them. They can't keep all these picks. Like, they have too many. You can't have all these guys on your roster. So better for them just to, take some of the later ones, couple them together, toss to a team, and hey, if he turns into the guy he was in his rookie season, just in like 18-minute spurts for them, that's fantastic for cheap for the next 3 years. They're just trying to win championships right now at this point. So yeah, good on them. It was a good move. I see why they did it. If I was an OKC fan, I'd be happy about it. I wouldn't be, because that move's not McCain's not contingent on them winning anything. So it's like, hey, what are we gonna do with those picks? Like, hey, throw it out there, get a guy that might hit, and then there you go.
Yeah, no, it wasn't really. They have a million picks, so they could take chances on that stuff.
I think it's win-win.
C- David, I'm disappointed in what Moore did at the deadline. You're not alone, buddy. There's a lot of people out there who feel the same. At least go for Sadiq Bey $6 million. I would have loved that, but talk about guys who've been on terrors. He's been on terrors, and I who knows what the asking price for him was, because they could probably ask for the moon for him because he's looked really good. But let's just focus to the buyout market. So a lot of what we did yesterday allows us to kind of splurge in the buyout market like we want to, and that's not every team can do what we want to do with the buyout market. So like we are in an advantageous position to kind of go for some of the guys in the buyout market. I'm going to list some of the guys here: Haywood Highsmith, Cam Thomas, Lonzo Ball, Chris Boucher, who we were linked to. Chris Middleton is another guy. Now, like a lot of guys out there, I know we signed Patrick Baldwin Jr., but like we still have 2 or 3 roster spots to fill. So there are guys out there. I know people are laughing at Lonzo Ball, but like, I mean, a guy who's going to come in and give us a good backup point guard minutes, that's solid. But who some of the guys who just listed there, who are guys that you would be interested in? I know some people have put cold water on Cam Thomas because he doesn't play winning basketball. But
no,
who would be your kind of the guys that stood out to you?
I don't know why people are laughing at Lonzo Ball. Lonzo's Ball, if you're going back to like 6 years ago and you want him to be your starting like 35-minute a game point guard, maybe that's a problem. But 12 to 14 minutes a game of like backup point guard, I think that's fine. And I think that, honestly, I think that's really good for him. I think he needs that kind of role. I think he needs that. He shouldn't be like considered not even the guy anymore, because we're well beyond that, but even like a 6th man or a 7th man. I think he's just going to become, if he wants to stay in the league for a while, like a 10 to 14 minute a game, maybe sometimes more if you need those longer stretches and he's feeling good. But yeah, 10 to 14 minutes a game of backup point guard, a ball handling real point guard who actually can rebound too on top of it all. And he's long. So he fits the size that we need. Yeah, I think Lonzo Ball's perfect. I would love Lonzo Ball. And that's not me, like, again, like we said earlier about McCain, like signing a guy or getting a guy because of who he was. I'm not naive. I don't expect that at all. I want him just to be him for 10 to 14 minutes a game. Sorry, sneeze. Gone. I'd say Lonzo Ball and Boucher. There it is. Okay, Boucher, because you got the stretch four. I think he's got the size. I think he coexist with who we have. I know it's like, I know him and Nurse, they said had some issues, but I mean, if he agrees to come here, obviously those are squashed. So I would say, I'd say Boucher is the obvious one because we were linked, and he's familiar with Nurse's system, and he can come right in and compete for 4 minutes, especially with Paul out for the extended future. And backup one, I'd say Lonzo Ball and Boucher.
Two guys that I've seen people talk about. Chris Middleton is someone that the PHLY guys were kind of talking about yesterday as someone that could bring him. Haywood Highsmith, who's returning back to form. Like he was injured last year, he's returning back to like doing practices again and doing ramp up 5-on-5 stuff. He's a solid 3-point shooter, decent defender, so that won't be a bad guy. He's played with us before, back in the day. One of those guys who really flourished in the Miami Heat system, and then didn't really do much after that. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind that. There's a lot of guys that wouldn't mind, and I do like the fact that we are one of these teams that can go out and search and get some of these buyout guys, which not a lot of teams can. And we're a team that's, we're competing for a chip. I mean, we're top 5 in the East. I mean, so like we are one of those teams that teams may want to go to. C. David says after the 10-day contracts of Bassey and PBJ, the Sixers have 2 open spots. They don't have to sign Walker, as Walker is just average. We have Lowry to get 3 open spots. Don't need Lowry.
They're not getting rid of Lowry. I mean, I know we all have our opinions on that, but they're not going to do that. So let's say 2 spots. I like Middleton too, but then you're doing the whole like, well, he's not a point guard, but like he can bring the ball up sometimes. Well, we've kind of been doing that, right? Like we need a backup point guard. Like Eric always said, there's a difference between running an offense and bringing the ball up. Yeah, a guy can bring the ball up and just dish it to the first guy who comes to the ball. That's not setting up an offense, right? Like we need a guy who's capable of ball handling and being your sole ball handler when Maxey's pretty much off the court, right? Like enough of so-and-so can bring the ball up. Like that's like bare minimum, right? Where you're trying to compete, you need like a reliable point guard off your bench. So I do like Middleton, but I'd rather go with Ball just because for that reason.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Ball. Like I said, I wouldn't mind a lot of these guys, and I just think we are in a unique spot where we can sign some of these guys. A lot of other teams cannot, that are in contention right now. So like we are in a good spot in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, we have 3 open spots? Is that right?
After the 10-day contracts of Bassey and Patrick Baldwin Jr., Sixers have 2 open spots. 3 if they want to get rid of Jabari Walker. That's what
Sixers currently have 3 restaurants. Barlow will be converted. Okay, it's because Barlow got converted to standard contract. So now we have 2. Okay, okay. So right now we have 2. Yeah, I'd say I'd go Boucher and primarily Ball. But if one of those became Middleton, I wouldn't hate that either, because what Middleton is in my mind is like a kind of like Paul George insurance.
Yeah, that's actually not bad. I mean, yeah. And Middleton has had some decent games with the Wizards this year. So
he has, and they didn't overload him with minutes either. I think we couldn't do that either. Like he would need to be like a 18 to 20 minute a game. Like
realistically, I don't know how many minutes he's getting anyway. So
no, he misses a lot of games. I had him for a little while in fantasy basketball. He misses a lot of games. He performs when he's on there. I mean, like he's solid. He gets like a 10, 4, and 3 type game in like 16 minutes. Like it's pretty good. So he is efficient on the court, and he makes an impact with the little minutes he has. Very similar to Ball. But that's kind of what you're dealing with right now. That's why these guys are on there, because someone would rather Tyrese on a younger guy who could play more. Someone would rather give up assets for McCain than like sign Ball to at max give you like 10 to 14 minutes a game and maybe not even be available tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the thing. These guys aren't going to be playing a lot of minutes. So like with guys like Ball and Middleton who are coming off, and Haywood Highsmith who are coming off like injuries, like they would want to come to a team they're not going to have to play a lot. They'll get meaningful minutes, not a lot of minutes though. And I don't know how many minutes they would even get in the playoffs, to be quite honest with you. But just to have them as insurance policies, if anyone gets hurt. It's not bad to have these guys like Cam Thomas, for example. I do not think he's going to come to Philly. I don't think we're one of the teams even interested in him. But that's a guy who's going to go to a really bad team, want to put up numbers, like kind of what Oubre did with Charlotte a couple years ago. That strikes me what Cam Thomas is going to want to do. I don't see him wanting to come to nor do I want us to get him.
Nah, I think his best spot's to go to like a team that just has like an opening for like a volume scorer off the bench. He can just go in there and just go nuts and just show a different coach that he can do this until he goes to that team and shoots himself out of the rotation. You just got to let him be him. I think part of the problem with Thomas is, to me, coaches think they can mold him into what they want him to be at his best. And I think he's just a volume scorer off the bench, which is fine. Yeah. Those guys had more of a place, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Those guys were like perennial all-stars, but different NBA. It's a different NBA game now. They don't want just volume scorers off the bench and just inefficient shooters.
Yeah. C. David says, I agree. Backup point guard like Lonzo or someone like that, and I like a wing or forward like a Middleton or Boucher or someone like that. I like your ideas. Thanks for the show. Thanks for the comment. Appreciate you, C. David.
Totally, man. Yeah, I mean, I just think like at this point we have the spot. We have $5 million to like spend it on. I think we can do some damage. I think we're a team that also we're not wasting anyone's time either, right? If you're a Ball and you want to like come and like compete, play 5 to 8 minutes a game with Embiid, it's fun to do that. Like it's like an NBA bucket list check off, right? Get to play with Embiid for a season. George, Maxey, it's a competing team. It's a fun team. They have fun together. Like if you're a bench player on our team and you're watching the Sixers play, you're like, they have a good time. I could be on that team. It's fun. Seriously, they have a good time. We're like a non-cringy OKC, right?
Yeah. We're
we don't do all those stupid antics and stuff, but look, we're young. Yeah, and we have a good time. Like Embiid's our older statesman. I mean, George, but like George is kind of like the +1 on our team.
Yeah, it's more of like a millennial OKC. They're more a Gen Z like team. We're more millennial like kind of squad.
Yeah, which is funny. It's funny because we did the McCain trade with them because McCain's more of an OKC guy if you think about it.
100%. Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? We have a best fit for your personality. I don't know about the basketball court, but OKC, we feel for your TikTok talents. We think it's a really good fit for you over there, and you'll have a good time in their post game. Your most damage you'll do in the game is in the post game presser.
Yeah, I will say Haywood Highsmith's another interesting one. I know we talked about it a little bit, but he was actually linked to us last offseason. The offseason we signed Caleb Martin. I remember there was a report that said, Sixers are interested in Haywood Highsmith and Caleb Martin. So like that's something to consider too, as things do come to fruition here to see if that does happen. He's coming back from injury, so I don't know. But like again, we're not playing these guys a lot of minutes. These is more just depth pieces to have as we gotta go along here. C. David says if they don't sign Walker, then they will release Walker, and the Sixers can get 2 new two-way guys to join Beauchamp to at least help in the regular season before the playoffs, like Kobe Buffkin. Not bad. Good.
Yeah.
Good nuggets there. See, David.
Also with I mean, he's not going to do. He's probably go back there, but Conley, another great vet point guard.
It's almost like a positive. He's going back to Minnesota.
Yeah. They're just waiting till his salary becomes less, right?
I don't know.
That's what I read. The NBA is just it's crazy how that works. Like I just read that his rest of season contract will be prorated based on the number of days left in the season. The longer he waits to come back, the lesser his cap hit, to the point where pretty much Minnesota can afford him. So like he's just sitting there waiting for like a date where they can afford him again, and then he signs. It's crazy, man.
Well, he probably didn't sell his house in Minnesota. He's probably still staying there. So may as well just wait it out a little bit. All right, let's get to the other piece of news that kind of shocked the world, so to speak. So after our show last week, it was deemed that Paul George will be suspended for 25 games, and I think we've had 4 or 5 games since then, so about 20 games left. He'll be coming back with 10 games left in the season. He's suspended for performance-enhancing drugs, which became kind of a weird thing because Shams leaked a report or released a report of what Paul George said, like his statements, essentially saying he was going through some mental health stuff. He took something that obviously had some performance-enhancing whatever in it to help him with his mental health. Now that kind of got blown up all over the NBA world. Charles Barkley said something fishy's going on. The NBA really cares about mental health. If Paul George did have something that had mental health going on, and he was taking something for that, the NBA would kind of let him kind of get away with that because they do prioritize mental health. And Charles Barkley said if that was the case, that would be happening. Now he doesn't think that's he doesn't think that's happening. He thinks it's fishy. He thinks Paul George is saving face. Nonetheless, mental health or whatnot. How does this affect the 76ers not having Paul George for the guy who was important to our team defensively? I know people said he didn't play up to his contract, but still, he was so meaningful for our team. Embiid's talked about that many times, how important he is to our squad. But 20 games left. We did kind of go on a run here in the West Coast trip. We did lose last night, no heartbreaker. But what do you make of the next 20-ish games without Paul George? Are you nervous about our seeding, and how do you think this kind of impacts this as a whole?
We've been playing well without him. I think the one plus to George missing as many games as he has is that it's kind of gotten used to not always playing with him available. So it's like, what do we do without him now? How do we replace that production that he gives us? One in every 3 games. I think we'll miss his defense the most, more than anything. I think we can find spot guys to step up here and there. I mean, you get a good Embiid game, you get a special Maxey game. They'll kind of just switch off. Edgecombe's going to have to shoulder a little more. Everyone's going to shoulder a little more defensively. I think that's our biggest problem. I'm not too worried about the seeding or anything. Like, what's George going to impact that? Like 3 to 4 games overall. I mean, we've already, what's our record without him so far in this last stretch? 3-1, 4-1. He's been gone 5 games. You said?
I think we only lost the game last night, I believe.
Yeah. So whatever he's been gone. So 3-1, 4-1.
Yeah.
You looking it up?
Yeah, 3-1. Pelicans, Clippers, Warriors, and then last night 3-1.
He was there for the Sacramento game, right?
Yeah.
So no, I'm not that overly concerned. I think it's unfortunate. I'd love to know what he took because helped him. I mean, recover. I don't know what's out there nowadays. I mean, what comes to mind for recovery would be HGH, but even HGH takes like 4 to 8 weeks to really help with muscle and injury recovery. It takes a little while. It's not like a overnight thing. So everyone thinking he woke up the next day after taking HGH and is doing 360 windmill dunks. It's that's not how it works. So yeah, I don't know. I'd be really curious to know what happens. I'm really curious to see how he comes back, as I guess he'll be off of whatever he was taking when he comes back, right? So how's he going to look? I'm less concerned with his dunking. I'm more concerned with his just lateral movement on his defense because he's been a defensive terror. But he's been a defensive terror pretty much all year. He's been great defensively. It's one thing he's really honed in on and accepted that that's his main part of his role. But I think we'll be fine. I'm not too worried about seeding. I'm not too worried about being on the road in the first round because we're a better road team at this point than we are home team. We're 3-1. We're 3-1 on this trip so far, and they're all on the road, right? No, the first game was New Orleans at home, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's I don't know what it is. I mean, mental health covers a lot of stuff. So I know they give people steroid-based stuff for nerves. I don't know if it's a nerve thing he's got. I think Gilbert Arenas also said, like, yeah, like you can take Gilbert Arenas is kind of out there, but he made a comment like, yeah, like, when you aren't playing to what you used to play at, that level you used to play at, like that does mental health, that does mess with your mental psyche. So you take something to get you back into playing like your old self again, because that is mental health.
That's a really good angle. Arena should have gotten into law. That's a great angle to take. That's why I took something that takes care of both, because I figured out what was making me unhappy, and it was the
down
fact that
because I wasn't who I was. Yeah.
So 2 birds with 1 stone, baby. You know what I mean? And they're like, "No, sorry, Paul, that's not gonna fly." He's like, "Oh, whoops."
I guess for me is if that was the case, he was taking like some kind of drug that had steroids in it for mental health, like for nerves or whatever it is. Not like stuff that, guys take it in the locker room in the 90s to get like, pumping iron, getting big and whatever. Not that kind of like steroids, but steroids that are in like drugs that people take for their anxiety or whatever. If that was the case, because when I saw a report by Shams saying what his statement was, I was like, oh, so is he appealing it? Because like if I was taking something for mental health, but the NBA is not approving it, I'd be pissed off because you guys say you care about mental health. I would appeal that suspension. So like he's not, to my knowledge, I don't think he's appealing anything. So it's like, okay, you're just taking it on the chin. I don't know. Then it must not have really been for mental health. But I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. But just naturally, if this was me and I was taking something because I was in a really bad place, I was depressed, and I was taking something for my mental health, my mental psyche, I would appeal that suspension. I would say it's 25 games is bullshit. That's what I would say. So like the fact that he didn't just appeal it, I thought that's kind of interesting. Because I see guys in the NFL appeal stuff for way less than that. So,
yeah, it's all weird. Improper medication seeking treatment for mental health. Like, it's just strange. Because one thing Shaq did say, and he's right, is like they have this list, and so does the doctor you went to. So, like, how could this happen at this point? Like, how could this happen? Unless they were like, you're not supposed to be taking this, and he's like, I want it anyway. So like that's really the only thing. And then lying and saying, oh, we didn't know. But you do know, like that doctor definitely knows that, I don't know. That's weird. I know like people are saying Adderall, Xanax, ketamine possibly, or another antidepressant. Like I know they're banned, but in my mind, none of those things are really heavy and like getting his guy's knees back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, that's why I don't think whatever he took, I don't think it had really anything to do muscular wise or whatever. I just think something that might have like helped him with
somehow perform better. Yeah, I mean,
Adderall. Shoot, have you ever taken Adderall going playing like a pickup game or playing flag football?
It gives you a lot of energy.
Oh, dude, you're locked in, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like taking like a pre-workout before you play basketball. It gets you like, I mean, like it's very similar. It highly energizes you, but like energy, I mean, like what? Like, I mean, like down a cup of coffee before you play. Like, I mean, it's like you could load up caffeine before you play if you really want to do the same thing. I don't know. I just don't. Unless it was trying to like heal himself, then I'm not worried about his like future with, coming off of it, right? Like this isn't like Barry Bonds getting off juice and then hitting like
no, I don't think it's that situation at all.
Again, right? Like a lot of people think like he's been talking about like doing like talking about ego death and stuff like that he's doing like the Aaron Rodgers like psychedelics.
Huh.
That's another theory too. I see some Reddit pages about that.
Interesting. Silver lining, another silver lining to this whole thing is Paul George, right? 2 years you've had him. By the time he comes back, he'll have played he'll play less games this year than he did last year. But silver lining is we're actually making the playoffs this year. And why haven't Embiid and him play back-to-backs? Because we're saving their legs for the playoffs. So the silver lining here is, barring anything crazy, Deshaun Watson stuff happening behind the scenes. When I mean that, Deshaun Watson was out for a season and he tore his Achilles while he was already out dealing with an Achilles injury, and he tore it somehow while he was out. Barring anything like that happening where Paul George is out and he gets hurt. When Paul George comes back, we have 10 games left. There's maybe crucial games as far as seeding wise. So, but he comes back, plays majority of those games, hopefully all 10. And we have a healthy Paul George and a healthy Embiid. That's the silver lining behind this, is that it gives us more of a reason that he actually might be healthy when it comes to playoff time this year. And hopefully we'll have a healthy Embiid and healthy Paul George heading into the postseason. So I think the silver lining for me is, sure, he's going to miss these 20-ish games, but should be good to go for the playoffs. And I think that's the important thing. So when we signed him last year, it was because we wanted to have that guy in the playoffs. So I think for me, that's the big thing here is, this pretty much assures that we'll have a healthy Paul George for the playoffs.
I'll add to that too. Part of that $5 million that we have to allocate to buyout players is partly because we got money back from George being suspended. And who knows, if George was playing, we might have had to do more moves than just McCain and Gordon. So we were able to keep Drummond as a backup big. And then now we can add 2 buyout players with George coming back with 10 games left. So it might, you never know. We might be looking back in the playoffs if like Lonzo Ball has a key play or whoever, a key play in the playoffs and like limited minutes, saying like all because of George's suspension. Thank goodness for psychedelics.
So Paul George, the unsung hero of trade deadline, is what I'm getting at here. Is what I'm hearing.
I think, that's why we had to really group that topic into the trade deadline, because I think it actually gave us flexibility, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So Paul George comes back against the Bulls like mid-March. I think mid-March when he comes back. So
the Bulls game, March 25th.
Yeah, okay. So towards the end, March 25th. At home, so March 25th, set your calendars because that's when Paul George will be coming back. So, again, like at the end of the day, as long as Embiid and Paul George are healthy, the sky's the limit for this team. And this only, as much as it sucks, this only pretty much assures that we'll have a healthy PG8 in the playoffs. So excited for that.
I would hope so, unless he really was taking HGH and then he comes back and he's like 3 steps slower and like getting injured every single time he runs up the floor.
Yeah, well, I hope it's not the case. All right, before we get out of here, I do have a comment from C. David. Why can't they release Kyle Lowry to open up another roster spot? I think Sixers get a 16th roster spot for that time George is out. They should release Lowry. Why not release Lowry? I think we're both saying they're not going to release Lowry because
they're not going to do it.
We're not going to do it. It has nothing to do with I would do it, but like as far as when Embiid talks about keeping the vibes of the team. I mean, talking about Maxey, talking about Lowry's kind of help, his mentorship. He's a big part of that team. Lowry's pretty much an extension of the coaching staff. He's like Miami Heat's Udonis Haslem a couple years ago.
That's what I was going to say.
They were never going to release Udonis Haslem. He was a fixture and a mainstay on that bench for the morale, for the vibes, for the veteran leadership. So they will not release Kyle Lowry. That's a guy who's going to very has a big fixture with the vibes of the team.
You can. It's just not going to happen. Like they can do it, and should, sure, but it's like a farewell tour in his home city, like getting up new curtain calls, like to teams he played with before. Like it's just not. They're not going to do that. They're not. That's like it's not going to happen. Again, the Haslam's. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, they could have waited Haslam like 78 times over like a span of like 6 years where he didn't play. They didn't know because he just kept coming back for more. It's like a Jason from Friday the 13th, man. Like he's gonna come back again. So that's all. He's just gonna he's not gonna play. He's gonna just be there and for good vibes, and I'll probably join the staff next season. Like he's a part of the organization. I wouldn't even say he's a player at this point.
He did say he does not want to coach, so. But
sure,
but he's a part of the staff as of right now, and like we've seen him, his veteran leadership come up with like helping develop the guards, Maxey, Eshkin, McCain. Even we've seen him when Maxey and Eshkin were arguing on the sidelines. He was very involved with that. Like, hey, like let them battle it out, let them hash it out. Like he's a big part of the fixture of the vibes of this team. So he's definitely not going anywhere. That's the one guy that I can say for sure. He'll be on the bench. I don't think he'll ever get play. And I know a lot of people are scared by trading McCain. That means we're one injury away from him playing. I do not think that's ever going to happen. I don't think we'll see Lowry unless we're blowing out a team in the playoffs. So
bad too.
Yeah.
Like blowing out a team bad, because even like the Toronto game where it was like perfect for him to come in, it was like, that was even kind of like took the crowd. Everyone had to get into it. It was his hometown. It was a team he played with for like 20 years. Like,
Yeah.
that was special circumstances had to draw him out to the court. So I don't think he's gonna play.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that does it for us. We will see you guys next Friday. Sixers have a pretty interesting couple of days coming up. We got tomorrow against the Suns, Monday against the Blazers, Wednesday against the Knicks, Thursday against the Hawks. So we have a doubleheader coming up this week. But yeah, guys, we will see you guys next Friday. We hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Take it easy and hope everyone has a good weekend. Hope everyone has a good Super Bowl Sunday this weekend.
Enjoy. Later on, guys.
See everybody.